They all told us that owning a dental practice was the dream, and it was the end goal for a private practice dentist. This was the way to make dental school worth it. Here's the reality. They never really told us how much debt it would be, how much stress it would take to get there, and the fact that some owners completely regret private practice ownership. So before you risk $1 million and your sanity, let's talk about it. Is owning a dental practice really worth it in 2025? So I graduated in 22, which kind of both feels like yesterday and also a lifetime ago. I'm stepping into my 3rd year of clinical practice. But I keep wrestling that question that I never really considered when I was drowning in my textbooks in dental school. Does it make sense to own a practice now? Not just in the sense of like, will I make more money? But like, more importantly, how can we make dental school tuition justifiable? And is owning a private practice the answer to that? Because let's be honest, a lot of us went into dentistry with the idea that, yes, it's expensive, but dental school tuition will pay itself off once we own a practice and start making real money. But now I'm standing at the crossroads. I'm not so sure. The numbers don't lie. They say private practice owners have the highest income potential, but I'm looking at the path to get there. It's complicated, it's expensive, it honestly seems overwhelming. Most of us take on this huge $400,000 plus student loan debt because we believed, that's how it was sold to us, right? Take on debt, become a dentist, own a practice, make a ton of money, pay off the debt, live the dream. It sounded simple when I was in school, but now, with reality, it's actually very complicated to get there now. I'm actually questioning a lot about this now. Right now, with my work schedule, the pay is solid, but it's just exhausting. And the frustrating part is, I see how much money my boss is making off my work. At my first job at Aspen Dental, I thought my paycheck was great, until I realized the owner was making millions of dollars off the production off associates like me. Even now, I'm only earning 19% of collections, which means I take home a fraction of what I produce, while the owner collects the rest. But that's the appeal of ownership, right? Like if I owned a practice, I'd be keeping the majority of what I produce, profiting off the associates and even the hygienists. Sure, I get it, private practice upside is undeniable. So this is why all associates, I think, are aspiring to become private practice owners. But people like myself are now running into massive roadblocks on the path to ownership. First, more debt, now there's more risk. I already owe hundreds of thousands of dental school debt. Now I'd have to take an additional $500,000 loan or an additional $1 million loan to buy or start a practice. That's absolutely terrifying for a new graduate like myself. What if it doesn't work out? What if I choose the wrong location? What if patients don't come? That's the thing with private practice. It's like there's really no guarantees. The stakes are even higher when you're already drowning in debt. This is a problem that we face now that many dentists generations ago didn't really have to deal with. Then the question becomes, I'm physically tied to that location. Do I really want to be stuck in one place? Owning a practice pretty much means settling down. And here's the problem. I'm in Miami, which is hyper expensive and hyper competitive. And I really don't know if I want to stay here long term. So now the issue I'm facing is, do I commit to Miami long term? Do I take on a 7-figure loan? Or do I move somewhere else with better opportunities like Fort Myers, where I used to work, on the west side of Florida? Because once I own, I'm locked in, and that's a huge decision to make. Sure, you can sell the practice, but however long you have it, you're tied to that thing. That thing is like a child of yours. Now, the next problem that I'm running into when I'm thinking about private practice ownership is that running a business is a whole different skill set. When you're private practice owner, you're not just doing dentistry anymore. It's not crowns and fillings. It's an entire business. We didn't go to business school. We went to dental school. It's a completely different ballgame. I know, my dental school didn't teach me a damn thing about business. Marketing? No. Managing staff? Hell no. Dealing with insurance? I'd either have to learn all of this myself or pay some boomer to do it for me, which just cuts into my profits. And I have a few friends who are private practice owners. I see the stress, I see how overwhelmed they are just by the business side, that it hurts their quality of dentistry when they're actually going to work and performing. And the next issue that we face as new grad dentists is that the economy is working against us, right? Inflation. Wages are rising. Have you seen what hygienists are demanding for salary these days? It's unheard of. There's first-year dentists considering doing hygiene because hygienists are asking for such a high salary. This is a big problem for private practice dentists, especially new grads. Don't be afraid of doing your own hygiene for definitely some time. You own your own office. I'm definitely expecting to do that, and I have to swallow my pride in doing that too, but It is what it is. This is the market that we live in. Not to mention the rising supply costs, declining insurance reimbursements. All of this shit eats away at the general dentist profit. I have friends who are owners who thought they were gonna be raking in cash, only to find out that the margins have been getting slimmer and slimmer for general dentists who are private practice owners. When I ask older dentists like my cousin if you would go back and do private practice ownership again in this climate, most of them don't really say they'd do it again. And that alone tells me a lot. And what I've learned throughout the years is that there's a hidden cost of ownership too. And what I've learned through my cousin while watching his practice develop for the past 10 years is that there's definitely a hidden cost of ownership. It's something I really don't have to deal with as an associate, but it's every private practice owner's problem until working as an associate. Every single problem in a dental practice becomes the owner's problem. If the toilet in the waiting room breaks, your problem. If your hygienist quits with no notice, your problem. If a bad review just randomly pops up online, it's your problem. You know, at least as an associate when I'm working, problems I deal with, but they're not my problems. Like, the owner has to figure these things out. Otherwise, the practice starts to decline. And that stress is just overwhelming. I got friends who are private practice owners who barely sleep. They're constantly worried about production numbers. Oh, this month it went down 5%. That's massive. They're worrying about just staying afloat. They're worrying about managing their payroll and their staff. They're missing time with their families because they're too consumed by their practice. It is literally like a baby that you must nurture and take care of and make sure it doesn't just try to kill itself. And at the end of all of this, I have to ask myself, is this really what I want? Is private practice ownership the way out? Is that the key to making dental school tuition worth it? It's a lot to think about, and I wish I had a definite answer. Now, if the goal is only to maximize income, then yeah, probably private practice ownership is the way to go. But at what cost? You know, for me, and I think a lot of dentists, it's not necessarily about the money, but it's about the lifestyle. Will ownership give me financial freedom, or will it just trap me in a cycle of stress? Will I just be more in control, or will I just be working even harder with more on the line? It's a huge risk to think about. And the real answer at this moment in my career is that it depends on what I want. If my goal is to make as much money as possible, which right now, that's not necessarily it. If I'm willing to go into higher risk, more debt for a bigger reward, I don't know if that's what I want to do just yet in my career. I think I'm too new out of school. I think I may not be ready, but I think also nobody's ready. There's so many questions that a new grad dentist may be considering when thinking about private practice ownership. But me, I also do value flexibility, the ability to walk away at any time. If ever I would need a week off of work, I can just tell my boss. I can just take 2 weeks off if I need to, because I work so much. He allows me to take off as much time as I need. So at this point, I value flexibility, I value the lower stress and responsibility, and also the ability to walk away if I ever need to. I can go to a different city tomorrow if I really wanted to. I don't gotta sell $1 million office. But if you can't tell by watching this video up until now, I really don't have my mind made up. I'm still trying to figure it out. And I know I'm not the only one, so if you're a new dentist struggling with this decision, let's talk about it in the comments below. Drop your thoughts, hit that like button, subscribe, share this to every person you know in your entire life, please. Dr. Rana signing off.